Patents are rights to forbid innovation. That sounds weird, but in the end, it's a reward for innovation. What has this to do with patent security? Well, the rapid technical development in cybersecurity is basically the target for patent activities of respective developers on the one hand side. And on the other hand side, we, as the patent attorneys, we are also the keepers of the secrets of our clients.
Welcome to TALK.CYBERCNI.fr.
Bienvenue.
Welcome to the 43rd edition of TALK.CYBERCNI, your monthly cybersecurity speaker series, where we try to bring you more knowledge for being more secure in all your working and private environments. Today, already 43rd edition, times are turbulent. The website was attacked. If you looked at it, it was down for almost a week. Nothing large, but WordPress plugin that was apparently attacked. So this was keeping me a bit busy. And therefore, I'm even more happy that the website is up again. And we have a super cool highlight today, because today we have Mohr, a long-time friend of mine. So we know each other for more than 20 years. And so actually more than 25 at least. And so, yeah, I'm super happy having him here today. And the topic is also a super nice topic, because it goes about patents today. It's about hacking innovation, securing innovations in the cyber world. And this is a super important and exciting topic that we did not cover yet in the series. And therefore, I'm also super happy topic-wise having such an expert with us today. So those of you who do not join for the first time know it already. For the others, I explain how you can interact. So we have, again, a Slido. So the ID for the Slido is Talk43, as always. So it's Talk and the number. There you can ask your questions. You can upvote and downvote questions. And so if you're participating, it's always a good idea to be in the Slido, because then you can interact, you can see what's going on in the discussion. Okay, so that said, I keep you this open, or you will also see it on every slide. So I put you the title again. And so, yeah, as said, today we have Christian, and I will briefly introduce Christian. So Dr. Christian Mohr is a patent attorney. He joined Tergau&Walkenhorst Intellectual Property GmbH as managing equity partner and chief visionary officer in October 2023. Christian is a leading IP manager and strategist with more than 18 years of IP leadership experience. After studying biochemistry, molecular biology, and law in Heidelberg, he took his PhD at the Max von Pettenkofer Institute for Virology at the Gene Center of the LMU in Munich. After his education in a boutique patent law firm in Munich, he became German and European patent attorney. Through his journey, he was able to counsel companies of different sizes and business models, and within different industries, among those drug discovery and generic pharma companies, as well as companies in the medical device and chemical industry, from the large corporate to various startups. He entered the Electrolux Group in 2016 and was there until recently, where he became became head of patents of the German patent department, as well as leading the global IP team of about 45 people in interims. And he has even more things in his CV, but I let him explain this. And with that said, and without further ado, Christian, I'm super happy having you here, and I hand over to you. Let me just check where I have you in full screen. Speaker full screen here. Perfect. So here you go.
Thank you, Mark. And great that you introduced this way, but I think I start in this round of cybersecurity experts with disclosing a secret, probably. And this is where it all started. And in the end, I mean, I really exactly know the very moment where I was introduced to you, because we did the baccalaureate, the Abitur together in Heidelberg. And this was unbelievably 1998, right? And we met roughly 2 years before, when a common friend of mine introduced me to the secrets of the really good old Kurfürst Friedrich Gymnasium, because this was the school where we both were. And he said, you have to come to the basement. You remember that? Because this is where you find these people which are crawling with the computers in our old library. And there was sitting a gang of people assembled around Mark, yeah, who was playing video games, and already there with things like screwdrivers, etc. Were pimping their devices in order to make them even more further. And I think, Mark, this is something which we definitely share since more than 25 years, the passion for innovation, the passion of modern technologies, and also to explore new grounds. And this is then where it all started, actually, our friendship. And now 25 years later, I'm really, really very thankful for this invitation to contribute also to your series here. I'm Christian, as Mark already said, and I'm also in a company which we have gave a brand, TWIP, very, very competitive brand in the end. We try to torchbear innovation, protection, patents, and I will not share PowerPoints or so. I really would love that you engage with us over the chat also, so that I can see your questions. And Mark, I'm not sure if it's the right chat which I'm seeing. So if there's coming up a question, please just interrupt me. We are having a lively discussion here. And nevertheless, I think I have a certain agenda, because I would like to talk with you about patents. Of course, this is my profession. And then, however, on the other hand side, probably also the struggles or opportunities, what's going on with regard to cybersecurity in relation to patents. But let me start on the very beginning. And honestly, it's not a dumb question if you say, hey, what is a patent? I mean, Mark said in his introduction, I think, the word patent 3, 4, 5 times. And whenever I start also to counsel clients, I secure that we are on eye level if it comes to such very fundamental knowledge. What is a patent? And sometimes you can get really weird answers in asking this simple question. And my next question is then, why do you come to a patent attorney without knowing what is a patent? Ha! It's of course a trial to come into a good discussion on eye level, and also it's fine to ask the right question. There is no dumb question in all of this, and a patent in the end is something which is not easy to answer if you ask it that way. So what is a patent? And there is a very simple legal definition what a patent actually means. It's in the end a right. It's a right. It's a documented right which you have as a patent owner to do something, to enforce it. And already there lay a lot of pitfalls about what means that enforcing a right. Let's come to that a bit later. If we talk about patents and we ask why should you patent something, or what you actually can patent in the end, there are also a lot of blur and misbeliefs around, and I would like to give you a bit of clarity into that. So coming first from the legal definition about what a patent is, it's a documented right, and it's not a positive right. And this is one misbelief which in the very first 2 minutes here I would like to disclose with you. Many people believe that if you have patented something, you are automatically allowed to use your invention. That's wrong. A patent is a right to forbid others to use it, to market it, to produce something, etc. pp. And all of this goes back, I think, more than 5,000 years in the meanwhile, where we find in history and in historic science the first traces of a patent intellectual property system. And this is a very nice story which I would like to share with you, which, however, also reveals a fundamental of what a patent actually is and how to deal with it. The story goes like this. There was a Greek colony which is called Sybaris, and the Greek colony owners, the rulers, they decided that whenever there comes a cook into the colony and brings a new recipe with him, that the colony allows this cook to cook his new recipe for 1 year exclusively. So he could forbid all others to cook the same recipe for 1 year within the colony of Sybaris. He was the one exclusively being allowed. This is a little different. And the reason why they did that was that you enrich the society. You bring a new recipe, you enrich us in the colony, and therefore you are allowed to own this exclusive right. And the funny thing is that the fundamentals of this little story never changed. And this is something which I would like to tell you. A patent comes with a price. A patent comes with the price that you disclose what you actually have invented. You enrich the society, and this is the incentive system which the states actually want to achieve with having patents as strong rights. In order to enrich the society with new knowledge, they grant you this right if you have contributed to the knowledge and if you are allowed to have a patent. We will come also to this a bit later. You get the reward of being allowed to forbid others. This is a fundamental deal which the society makes with you as the inventor and patent owner. And this deal very often comes to issues, because if you think about yourself, and many of you I know from Mark are scientists, the price is that you disclose everything. And some of my clients come, shouldn't we? And this is a secret, etc. And there comes a very interesting debate. What should you really disclose? Because everybody will know. And what should you keep as a trade secret, as a know-how, protected from everything by not patenting it, by keeping it a secret? There is one famous story, of course, for example, the recipe of Coca-Cola, is believed to be one of the most protected secrets in the world. Nobody knows that it's not patented. So it's also a possibility to work with know-how protection, to work with secret protection. And still, there are very good reasons to have a patent, namely that you can enforce it. Going back to the story of the Greek colony, however, there are two further fundamentals which I want to share with you as well. It's the territory principle. You can have a patent in the jurisdiction in the country where you apply and pay for it. The French state cannot allow or hinder somebody to practice your invention by a French patent in, for example, India. You need an Indian patent for that. You must go to another colony and apply for the same patent there. However, and we will go into that later as well, quickly, shortly, there are possibilities, particularly nowadays, a unified patent in Europe, where we all jointly agreed we should have one patent. Finally, after a debate of decades, we have one patent which equally counts for all the countries which have taken part in this deal. Territory principle. And then, of course, and this is then something which is also very relevant in the area of cybersecurity patents, it's the timely bound manner of a patent. So there is a lifespan of a patent, and the time where you can enforce it, where the patent is really existing as a right, is limited. Do you know how long? It's 20 years from the date of application. And if you talk to me, I studied biology. In the early times, I counseled pharma companies. This sounds like ages. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm in a talk with cybersecurity people. 20 years? I mean, come on, are you crazy? For pharma, this is nothing, because the development cycle of a new drug sometimes is not even enough to get the return of invest, which they do over the many years they develop a new drug. For cybersecurity people, it's infinite time. And this makes it also very interesting and challenging how you apply patents in the cybersecurity field in the end, because the timely constraints which you have, this is something which is very intriguing as well. Particularly because patenting is not very cheap. Also, this has to be thought through. if you enter the game and if you are a single patent holder, the question really often is, if a client approaches me, how can we afford that? And unfortunately, the incentive systems from the state ends very often with granting this right, but you have to pay for it. However, there are some fundings also from the state or other sources which support you in getting a patent. But very often the people, the inventors are left alone with this. So also there, I can say, and I'm very frank with you, there is a certain misbalance in the system, because you will see patent owners, and we will look into some numbers. I will share some numbers with you. Yeah, if you look at patent portfolios of big players, IBM, for example, then they have thousands of patents. Yeah, when I was still in Electrolux, we had around 7,000 inventions basically covered. Yeah, worldwide. If then a single inventor comes to me and say, hey, I have a good idea, can we apply for a patent? And already there, the question is, what is the patent actually worth, right? Because this is then a question where, well, I would call me really a professional. Yeah. How do we value and evaluate what all of this is worth? So why should you actually patent? Why should I protect? Yeah, and particularly if we talk to people like you who are cybersecurity specialists, who are interested in software patenting, many of you talk about open source, and the idea to share ideas is much more prominent to hinder others compared to hinder others to practice my ideas. Yeah, so the goodwill to say, I want to share my ideas, I want you to use it, on the one hand side, competes a bit with the side where you say, well, I want my idea protected. I want to profit from it. I want to market it. And the interesting thing is where all of this collides and what is it in for. And if you look now in some figures, for example, cybersecurity booms. Yeah. And the onset is found, I mean, we can make searches. You see always when a patent is filed, usually 18 months after its filing date, it's public. Here the deal, yeah, the Greek colony, think about the deal, comes into real. You don't know whether you get the right in the end, but the price is you publish 18 months after filing. So we can look at that. And there are searchers, there are search bureaus and offices who are professionals in searching and revealing this data for us. And I'm using them very much in patent strategy development. And if you look at your competitor, how much is he filing, in which year, in which area? And I would like to give you some insights here. So all of this starts around 2010, 2011. There you see the onset of patents rising with a few per year. And it goes really like an exponential curve up over the 2015, 16, 17. And if you look at data of 2019, 20, yeah, please think 2025 minus 1.5 years, this is what we see. We are today at more than 500, 700 patents per year, which are solely filed and which are somehow connected to the terms cyberspace security or cybersecurity. So I've done this analysis quickly for you, and then you see really, boom, the curve is going up without stop. So obviously, people invest in getting rights to forbid you something related to cybersecurity. This is what we can learn from this data, basically. Yeah. So there is at least a use, yeah, in order to think about, why should I invent? Yeah, to make the world better, to protect our data, to protect our computers, to protect our services and communication. So how do I make money out of it? If you look a bit at the country distribution, you can also learn a bit where the hotspots are. And I think this is not so much interesting, but I want to just tell you, yeah. I mean, in USA is currently the leading country of patent filings related to cybersecurity, followed by China, but then already followed by the European Patent Office. And then I think more interesting, the fourth place goes already to India. Yeah. So if you look at US, then there are more than 1,000 patents in relation to this cyber security buzzwords if you search for them. And of course,
There's also a company distribution. There's one leading company in China who holds the most patents. It's related to aviation and aerospace. I think this is not intriguing for you. It's not an astonishing thing. But there are also many cybersecurity patents related to engineering. Particularly Honeywell holds a very strong portfolio there, but also related to the technology as such, cybersecurity as such. However, also to finance, there are also many cybersecurity patents related to finance and finance protection. I think that is something in a nutshell which could be interesting for you. And then, of course, the question is to which technology they are actually related. So what is the invention which they actually cover? And before we go to that, I would like to quickly explain you what it is all about, because a patent is a reward, as we said. It's an incentive which is granted to you for that you share your invention. And I think invention, we now mentioned also several times, it's also an unfilled buzzword for you. What is invention? An invention is a contribution which per se usually is technically, yes, another misbelief. There was a debate about whether software patents are technical or not. Please forget that and stop talking about it. Yeah, this is 20 years ago that there was a debate about whether a software patent can exist or not, whether it's technical enough. This is our skill as your patent attorneys in the end to argue for that still. But please, from the onset, first believe that your invention, software or not, is patentable. Okay, so forget about that. So I have made an invention. Is it patentable? Yes, if it is new and if it is based on an inventive step. These are the two fundamental hurdles which you have to take. Why? Yeah, because otherwise it's not a contribution. It's not part of the old Greek deal. Yeah, if you come as a cook to the colony the third time with the spaghetti, they will send you away. So you must make a contribution. And if you make this contribution, and this is part of the process, how to get the patent in the end, you are rewarded with these 20 years of being able to forbid others to practice your invention. The process is complicated. It's like making your tax declaration in Germany, probably, and therefore there are us who support you in this whole process. We do much more than that, but this is one of the core things which we do. Yeah, we write your invention in words which you rarely recognize as your invention in the end. That's the trick, probably. Part of the trick is that the inventors don't recognize what you actually invented when I'm done with their invention. I'm just kidding. And on the other hand side, however, it has to be written in a certain style. Yeah, it has to fulfill certain formal prerequisites. And then, however, you apply for a patent. How does this work? Yes, as usual. You have to pay for it. I mean, you have to pay the attorney who writes it, but you also have to pay the offices, and you file the patent in one of the offices. And usually you can go different ways already on the start. You can start with a French national patent or a German national patent or a US national patent, and you can go to every country separately, and you can apply, of course, with the same invention for the same patent if you file it on the same day. This is very unpractical. It already sounds weird to do that, right? There are different systems and there are different rules how to do that. And of course, at least in Europe, there's also a regional possibility to do that. So you go to the European office and by once you apply for a European patent, which in the end you can either distribute to different European countries, or you keep it as the new version, the unitary patent, which is then immediately effective in the countries which take part in the contract. Even further, there is an international patent application and search process. There is no international patent. But you can go via this route and also via the PCT, the Patent Cooperation Treaty, go nearly into every country centrally, and from there you go into the different countries or again in the European region. Sounds a bit complicated, but in the end it's a relatively well-structured process, and usually you get time to think about it and good counseling like this. Yeah? However, the patent is an examined right. There are others like the utility model, which I think exists in France, Germany, and some other countries, which are non-examined. You just file them and they exist until they are challenged by your competitor, right? The patent is an examined right. This means you have a debate. Yeah, You file your invention, and usually at a certain time point, the office searches for prior art and looks into the recipe book and says, hey, what do we actually already know? Is this really new, what Mark filed us in here? And then we confront him with the arguments. And this is the examination procedure, which can go